What if everything you thought you knew about spiritual awakening was wrong? What if instead of bliss and enlightenment, you first had to face the complete destruction of your life as you know it? They told you awakening would bring peace, purpose, transcendence, but they never mentioned the darkness that comes before the dawn, the unraveling of everything familiar, the death of who you thought you were. So let me ask you, what if losing it all isn't failure, but the very gateway to true awakening? When the soul stirs, the old self begins to crumble. Beliefs you clung to collapse, friendships fade. Ambitions that once drove you feel hollow and meaningless. You try desperately to return to normal, the same job, same conversations, same pleasures, but nothing fits anymore. The music, the food, the small talk, it all feels empty. And you wonder, what's happening to me? Am I going crazy? No, you are awakening, but first you must unravel. The stage has a name, the dark night of the soul. It's not blissful. It's not peaceful. It's a void where everything you thought defined you begins to dissolve. You question your purpose, your sanity. Some days you feel numb, others you're drowning in unbearable intensity. And no one around you understands. They tell you to think positive or snap out of it. But how can you go back once you've seen through the illusion? For many, the first crack appears in their financial world. That job you tolerated becomes unbearable. The career that gave you status now feels empty. Some quit impulsively. Others face job loss, debt, business failure. Money stops flowing, not to punish you, but to strip away false security. You're being asked a brutal question. Can you find a new relationship with wealth, one rooted in alignment rather than fear or greed? Rejecting money won't awaken you, but truly understanding it just might. Next, the mind rebels. Old belief systems shatter. The ego, that carefully constructed identity, no longer works. Thoughts spiral out of control. Anxiety floods in. Every judgment you ever made about others now reflects back at you. Was every criticism just my own shadow in disguise? The guilt, the shame, the self-doubt, this is the mind fighting for survival. But the deeper truth, you're not breaking down. You're breaking open. Suddenly, conversations feel shallow. Crowds overwhelm you. Friendships fade, not because you want them to, but because you can no longer pretend. You see through the masks, the social games, the empty ambitions. And the more you awaken, the more alone you feel. But this loneliness isn't punishment. It's initiation. Before you can truly connect with everything, you must first stand alone. One moment you feel infinite love, cosmic expansion. The next, you crash into fear, doubt, rage. You thought awakening meant transcending emotions. Instead, every hidden shadow rises to the surface. Anger, jealousy, resentment, terror. Not because you're failing, but because you're clearing lifetimes of unprocessed pain. The ego whispers, you're flawed, unworthy. But the truth is, emotions don't vanish through denial. They dissolve through acceptance. Then your body joins the storm. Exhaustion no amount of sleep can fix. Weight fluctuates without reason. You become hypersensitive to sound, light, energy. Your nervous system is recalibrating. Your body is purging. One week you feel heavy, the next untethered. Even being around others, their emotions, their energy feels overwhelming. This isn't sickness. It's alignment. Your body is rejecting everything that no longer serves your soul. Intimacy shifts. Sexual desire disappears or becomes hypersensitive. Casual encounters feel unbearable. You sense the misalignment in your partner, in your friendships, and old patterns of attachment. You ask yourself, can this relationship survive the person I'm becoming? Some break, some transform, but none remain untouched. Finally, the greatest collapse, the death of the ego. Your identity, your ambitions, your values, everything you thought made you, dissolves. The old self dies, but the new self hasn't yet emerged. You're suspended in the void, untethered, with nothing to cling to. And it feels terrifying, because awakening isn't a gentle unfolding. It's wildfire. It burns everything false until only truth remains. Here lies the paradox. Awakening feels like dying while you're still alive. It feels like losing everything, but in truth, you're only losing illusions. The destruction isn't a curse, it's a cleansing. Awakening isn't about becoming enlightened, it's about becoming real. So when your old self falls away, when life feels empty and nothing makes sense, remember, this isn't the end. It's the space between stories. Now I leave you with this question. Will you cling to the ashes of what was? Or will you trust the fire of awakening to burn away all that is false, so that your truest self may finally emerge? Share this with someone who feels lost. Not to give them answers, but to remind them that what feels like the end is only the beginning.